Hello, and welcome to a quick podcast video, which is actually an excerpt from my Patreon Pisces season forecast video. I've decided to make this introductory section of the forecast a public video on YouTube because it's really important what we're transitioning through right now, what we are beginning and what we are ending during this whole year ahead and into 2026. And this right now is part of the big time shifts that we're going to be having this year with all of the changes continuing into Aries season after we go through these shifting waters in Pisces season. So these energies are strong in Aries and Pisces. And if you've been listening to me for a while, you know that these planetary shifts occurring now are the opening act. They're the warm up for the major transitions that we will have soon in March through April and then May, which is setting the tone for even further transitions down the line this year and next. So I'm going to talk about the strong Pisces energies that we're experiencing, and I'll make a separate video to speak about the Aries energies that we're moving into later on. Before I go into any particulars, for Pisces season, I want to talk about some Pisces themes, but also the ways in which these themes can be integrated and interpreted and misinterpreted in different ways. So I want to pick up these themes where I left off in my final, I think it was my Aquarius season podcast video, in saying that as the final sign of the zodiac wheel, the sign of endings, dissolving, unity consciousness, I do find it very fitting to apply the number 0 to Pisces. So if Aries is the first number 1 zodiac sign, then Pisces, as the culminating sign before it, also functions as that void space through which that bursting forth of creation, which Aries represents, is coming from. So predominantly Pisces is associated with that liminality, spirituality, the subconscious, the imagination, empathy, and unconditional love. And also, because it's a water sign, of course, feelings, emotions, and sensitivity. This is because of that liminal space that I've spoken about. It's the point at the ending of a cycle. It's the culmination of everything that has come before and the merging of everything and every moment all at once. And yet, at the same time, nothingness, emptiness, the void, the end. It is the place that we touch the divine, touch the other realms, other dimensions, connect to the wider purpose, where we connect to bliss and acceptance. So this is where that Pisces godlike empathy, love, compassion is coming from, that understanding of everything and of nothingness. So for some people, this means art, creativity, using the imagination. Sometimes it's spirituality, even religion, so that connection to a higher cosmic source. Pisces also rules wild places, the untamed nature, where everything functions as it must, as part of a greater whole. So anything that is putting you in touch with that pure divinity of the universe is Pisces. It is also a sign of healing, health, sympathy, and service to that divinity of the universe through love. Now, because of this boundless sense of oneness, Pisces can have a lack of boundaries, a lack of discernment, a lack of direction. We can be feeling lost, unidentified, uncertain of the unknown, uncertain of how to even be in the tangible 3D reality that is so different from that energy of being one with Source. You can feel a greater urge with this strong Pisces energy to retract yourself from your reality. It can be a bit of a struggle to do real life right now. There may be a lack of energy, a lack of oomph, a tiredness, and this is all fairly normal for the Pisces experience. So what I would recommend is having compassion for yourself if you are experiencing this. Have patience, have understanding. And to lighten or liven up the energy within you, you can tap into anything that evokes the imagination and the emotions, like music, reading a story, experiencing art, making art, entering into your imagination. This is a great channel for that emotional, liminal space that can feel a bit lackluster at times. So if you're feeling lost or adrift, Pisces reminds you to have faith in your intuition, and also to have faith in timing. So this is the end of a cycle. So what you're moving through right now, if any of what I've said is ringing true, just remember that this is all what is passing. Also, too, remembering to be present in your physical body, being embodied and grounding is one of the most beneficial things you can do with this very overridingly strong Piscean energy, because with Pisces, we can feel like we're just floating away on a dream cloud a lot of the time. So by looking after and tending to your physical needs, by remembering to drink enough water, keeping the fluids in your body in balance, having lymphatic massages, even having system detoxes, and being aware of your immune system at this time, ensuring that you take whatever steps you really need to support your immune system, whether through diet or other health practices. This can really be beneficial during Pisces season. So being physically embodied can really help this very fluid Pisces energy to ground, to center, even walking on the grass or on the sand or on the earth with no shoes on, touching a tree, stretching, yoga, moving the body in any ways that settle you into your body and make you mindful of this physical form that your soul is riding around in this lifetime, can be really beneficial and energizing as well. Now, collectively, with Pisces, here we have the parts of the world and people who are lost or suffering, neglected or forgotten. This is about victims, victim consciousness, sabotage. So Pisces also speaks of addiction in all its forms. It's that compulsion to escape reality, to abscond responsibility, give over direction to a source that enables you to tap into that bliss and comfort that we all have, that forgotten primal memory of from when we were in the womb. So this can also speak of any subconscious patterning that we have around that, and also how we can self-sabotage ourselves. This giving over of direction is what I really want to discuss a bit further here. So Pisces is, first of all, symbolized by the two fish swimming in opposite directions, bound by a thread which forever connects them. And this is supposed to represent the sensitivity, adaptability, fluidity of watery Pisces, but also the duality. Now, as a mutable sign, this is one of the biggest themes that Pisces is required to work through. One fish swims upward into heaven, the other swims downward towards earth. Matter and spirit, ascension and descension, forever united and connected, even though they are polar opposites. So there are many, many descriptions of what this story encompasses. I'll just cut to the chase and summarize it here as the literal representation of our physical life here on earth as divine beings, made of frequency, made of light. The science by now has caught up on this physical fact. You can look it up. And we are bound here on the 3D plane, eating, going to work, brushing our hair, worrying about the interest rate, somehow still, though, longing to merge with soul, source, with the divine and with bliss, whatever that means to you personally, because it is different for everybody. Pisces is the epitome of that energy of longing for that divine bliss. So becoming addicted to something is a dysfunctional way of trying to get there. Absconding direction and decision by blindly following a religion is another. And this is kind of what I want to talk about. I got there in the end. Astrology reminds us of a cosmic unity encompassing energetic forces, both within us and external of us, that enlighten, guide, and teach. And this is the signs and the planets, right? Those energetic forces of your birth chart and how it is interacting with everything in the world. So this can be very affirming when you realize that certain parts of you are the way they are, and they are meant to function in certain ways and not in other ways. So it can be comforting to know the astrology, to give a context, purpose, meaning to something that's otherwise not understandable. There is a fine line here with astrology becoming something other than a science, a practical system, a metaphysical language, into a belief system that we rely on to give us the answers that we can't give ourselves. I do not think, feel, know to be true that this is real astrology, because astrology is not here to take your free will, sovereignty, personal responsibility away. It's here to help us have those things. It is here to forecast, support, validate, awaken, guide. It does remind us that there is a higher divine purpose to everything. And good astrology will remind you how to tap into this yourself, because you too are divine and you are responsible for connecting to this yourself. So we can't blame Mercury retrograde for everything, because everything is also within you. Mercury is within you, not externally doing things to you against your will. If you are being affected by astrological movements, it is not quote unquote happening to you. It is your soul, your inner psyche responding to the energetic stimulus of the astrology to manifest, express, or bring to your consciousness something that it needs you to see. So when working with the astrology, the great gift of Pisces, linking all of this back to Pisces, is to be able to feel and sense and intuit the energies in play, whether this is a situation or a person, whatever it is for you, as energies that are also within you, as a reflection and also as a fractal of the universe, of the whole. And it's being able to intentionally incorporate all of these energies holistically. And that is a very Pisces word. I hope all of this is making a bit of sense. So what I'm saying is that astrology it's incredibly comforting, supportive, validating, not to mention useful. But it doesn't therefore make everything okay, like a fairy godmother or even like a religion. It is not a belief system. It empowers you by giving you the practical tools and knowledge to know thyself, as Plato said. And this is the enlightenment, because to know yourself, your soul, is to know divinity, because you are divine. Astrology, therefore, gives you your divine blueprint. It outlines your soul, outlines your soul purpose, and it guides you how to best navigate the energies of life from your own unique energetic frequency. This is soul knowing, soul remembrance, and then the integration of that soul knowing into action. Can you see where I'm going with this? Aries is action. This is a big theme here, and it started already. It will only amp up from here, because we are having this grand shift from this soulful Pisces to bold, pioneering, self-oriented, self-willed Aries. So that's why I wanted to give you an overview of this Pisces energy and also of what astrology can give, because these shifts are big. They're cosmic, evolutionary, profound. They are going to be affecting everybody on a different level based on how it's interacting with your natal chart, based on your own consciousness and how attuned you are. And it is most definitely about the evolution of humanity as a whole, big societal world shifts, because it is occurring on the world axis, 0 degrees of Aries. But it's, again, remembering that the collective is made up of individuals, and we're all experiencing this differently and contributing to the whole from our own unique place. There will be massive world shifts, massive shifts in spirituality, spiritual pioneers. There will be shifts in the concept of individuality, on what it means to be part of a greater whole, and also what it means to remain sovereign and settled in self whilst being a part of the greater whole. There could be strong spiritual breakthroughs, and also because both Neptune and Pisces rule the environment and nature and the wild places, as I mentioned, there could be big environmental changes happening. So overall, next season, in Aries season, Neptune will be crossing that line to change signs into Aries, joining Pluto, which finally fully crossed his line last year in November to move into Aquarius. Saturn will follow into Aries in May, Uranus into Gemini later on, Jupiter into Cancer. All of these outer planets are changing within this condensed period of time. This does not happen. This is new stories, new beginnings, changes, changes, changes. And all of these outer planets are going to be interacting favorably with each other, but they're moving over their thresholds and back again, over into through the doorway and then back out again. So this is why it's sort of a wavy, bumpy ride this year, because it's the adapting, the growing pains, almost getting used to these shifts. So this is also about endings as well, not only because of all of these signs leaving their prior signs and moving into new ones, but because the big deal here is that we have both Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, the sign of culmination and endings, crossing their lines and moving into a new sign together, which is also very rare. So this is reflective, that spirit matter concept that I mentioned before with the two fish. Spirit is Neptune, matter is Saturn. During this period of time that we have in Pisces season, while Neptune is still on that last breath of Pisces, that last breath of the whole zodiac, you can feel a bit overwhelmed or lost and confused. But this is also an opening to practically, materially in your real life, release and dissolve what you know will serve your own divinity to do so. This is going to be in preparation for that Neptune ingress into Aries at the beginning of Aries season, which I will talk about more in the following forecast videos, and then Saturn following along in May. I did just get the message to say the phrase, not all those who wander are lost. So even though it has been a soul-searching time, potentially, this can be the culmination of it. So even if you don't have the answers right now, even if things are uncertain, don't you worry, they will be. Release the fluff. Release the patterns that don't align anymore, the sabotage. Release the excess. Pisces can be excessive. Most of all, remember your own divinity and align everything around that to keep you steady. So that was kind of bigger than I expected it to be, but I suppose it turned into something more. But it is crucial to understand that we are in a very significant portion of this cycle in terms of our own personal lives, but also humanity as a whole. Now, in saying that, as I mentioned, Neptune and Saturn don't change signs in Pisces season. Neptune ingresses into Aries in Aries season on the 30th of March. Saturn follows into Aries on the 25th of May. But we have Mercury and Venus and the Sun playing around with this 29 degrees of Pisces and 0 degrees of Aries because of this Mercury and Venus retrograde. And then the Sun will be lighting up this point as it exits Pisces and moves into Aries on the 20th of March. That is 3 bodies going over this point just before Neptune does. And they'll continue to go over this point before Saturn does. And that's why right now, as this is happening here in Pisces season, what's coming up for you in terms of ending cycles, releasing, dissolving, embodying your spirituality, and also what you are wanting to step into next is really important here. We're also coming into eclipse season as well. We have a total lunar eclipse on the 14th of March in Virgo. So we're really moving and grooving here, even if we can't really see how or why yet, because of this really strong, misty, foggy Piscean influence. So if you would like a natal chart reading, I do them. My website isn't ready yet, but you can message me on Patreon if you wish. For those of you not on my Patreon, the link is in my profile bio thing on YouTube and also on Instagram. Now, as a spiritual tool, astrology is a wonderful way to get in touch with that soul-searching journey, to recenter yourself and align yourself, and to also understand more about what is going on around you. So thank you so much for listening to this snippet from my forecast video on Patreon. If you'd like more podcasts like this, you can head over and become a member for $22.22 Australian dollars per month. So in the next time, bye-bye.